It's time again for those stories that mix a little bit of choosing beggar with entitlement and give us that satisfying dose of justice at the end, even if the act was a little petty. That's right, we've got another Petty Revenge episode. In today's episode of Petty Revenge, a product designer is overworked and then fired. Her boss tries to squeeze every last dollar out of her, even when she doesn't work there. This is her chance for one final strike back at a terrible boss. Our fan-submitted story for today: a student ends up doing a group assignment and inevitably ends up doing all the work, but that only means she has all the control for the PowerPoint presentation. And our final story: her sister always takes more Dorito chips than her fair share, so one day when she gets home first, she comes up with her petty revenge plan to stop her for good. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get straight into it. This story was called Using My Unpaid Work? Look at it a little closer. Several years ago, I was working as a product designer for a conniving striver. For $17 an hour, I would conceive new products, do the spec and shop drawings, create 3D renderings, post all the information in the company file, send the docs to the fabricators, and updated the drawing per the fabricator's feedback. Sounds like work? I produced up to 15 household items per day. I was a fiend because I wanted to grow in the field. In the meantime, my boss would flip through magazines, yell into her phone, and yell at everyone in the office. She had no concept of product design. She was a business manager. This created no end of frustration explaining to her how long projects could reasonably take. In the end, she decided that I was being paid too much to do too little, and she fired me after 3 months. I was upset, but decided it was for the best. The work atmosphere was just not viable, so I handed in my hours and wished everyone luck on my way out. I was a lot less even-keeled when I got my paycheck, and realized that she'd cut it by a third. When I called her, I had the phone on speaker and my lawyer friend listening. She tried to get me to do extra work before agreeing to pay me. My friend jutted in and intimidated her. We agreed that she would send me the remainder of my pay, and once I got it, I would email her a rendering that I had done the month before, but she had lost. The bimbo didn't even know how to look up her own data. The check arrived, and to my great surprise, I was able to cash it without a hitch. I got out the rendering. It was a photorealistic hotel lobby filled with the products I had spent 3 months creating. Then I decided to have some fun. I took my former boss's face, widened and distorted it, and put a faint reflection on a glass wall. I parked a cigarette butt in a potted plant. I put a very not safe for work poster in an adjoining room, just barely visible. I put slight footprints on the rug and an impression on a chair that suggested a large person just got up. I put a rat's tail behind the vending machine. Then I superimposed words over the whole image. If your eyes relaxed, you would read, unpaid labor. Once your eyes focused, the words go away, like a magic eye type of trick. This is the version I sent my former boss. And when I checked a few days ago, 5 years after the act, this is the image she is still using as a homepage for her website. There's something very beautiful about mastering the art of design simply so you can do these subtle pranks or acts of petty revenge. Because the reality is, probably nobody will ever notice those little details, but she will always know. And she can enjoy the fact that for the past 5 years, that's the image that has been proudly displayed on her former boss's homepage. This fan-submitted story was called, Well, I did do all the work, didn't I? This happened a couple of years back in a health education class. And by that, I don't mean just one class. I mean the whole semester. Our teacher decided that we should make a huge project in small groups. For the project, we had to pick a subject, ask people questions, take the answers and analyze them, and search for information online or from books. I was excited because I had heard that this class was really interesting and a lot of fun. Because none of my friends had the same class, I was forced to team up with these 2 girls I didn't know well. Our subject was sleeping and how it affects the human body and mind. The project was really demanding and a massive thing to do alone. But I wasn't going to do it alone, right? Wrong. I tried to make up a conversation with the other 2 girls, just so we can agree on how we will divide the work. However, I soon realized that these girls were not interested in the project at all. They wouldn't give me an answer. All they did was just mumble something like, I don't know, and then they just talk to each other and laugh. After the class, I tried to ask if we could make a group chat to share information or something like that, but they left as soon as the class was dismissed. They really weren't interested at all. After a few weeks, I gave up trying to talk to them and get them to do any work. They clearly weren't going to lift up a finger for the project. At this point, we had wasted too much time and we really had to start working on the project. Well, I had to because these girls were not going to do anything. And that gave me an idea. If they weren't interested in the project at all, they weren't going to see it before the day we were going to present it. That meant I could write anything without them knowing, right? So that's what I did. I did the whole project entirely myself, even if it was a bit tiring. Honestly, doing it all myself was a bit exhausting, but I was confident that what was going to happen on the presentation day would totally make up for the work. I searched all the information, made a quiz for people, collected answers, and all of that. I made sure it was the best project I ever made. And oh, boy it was. Before the presentation day, one of the girls finally, after the whole semester, messaged me if I did the project. It went something like this. Hi, we haven't done anything for the project. Could you please do it? We've been really busy. Don't worry, it's okay. It's all done already. Just final touches and it's ready to go. Oh, good. I knew you'd do it for us. Little did she know what the final touches were. When the time to present our projects came, I had a hard time trying not to smile. I was so excited knowing what was going to happen. I'd done it online, so all the work the girls did was just reading the text. It went well. The project was successful. The teacher congratulated us for the good work, and the girls just smiled, taking the compliments as if they ever did anything. I smiled and said, "There's still the credits." And I switched to the last slide, and I swear that was the greatest moment ever. I, of course, had typed down all the sources, but under that, there was another credit list about the work. I had typed down every single job that I did, and my name. None of it mentioned the two girls. I turned to see their expression. Honestly, they looked like cartoon characters with dropped jaws. Then the other girl glared at me and started to swear. I just shrugged and smiled and said, "Well, I did all the work, didn't I?" The look on her face was hilarious. It really was something that I wanted to see. After our teacher did a bit of investigating, he agreed that I indeed did everything. I even showed him the messages. And because the project was the main theme of the class after all, they had to retake the whole class. In the end, the amount of work I did doesn't bother me at all, because the girls got what they deserved. Group assignments are the worst. They are literally the definition of the tragedy of the commons. It doesn't matter what you contribute to the common good, everybody gets the same result, so it completely disincentivizes anybody to contribute. Why can't they just have group assignments, but every person has one part? If they do their part well, they get a good grade. If they do their part poorly, it doesn't affect anybody else. I'm really glad the teacher made them repeat the class because I think we all know that doesn't always happen. This story was called Cool Ranch Doritos. When my sister and I were in middle school, she's 1 year my senior, our favorite snack was Cool Ranch Doritos. Most of the time, my mum would keep a bag in the pantry for us. In a perfect world, my sister and I would have split the bag 50-50, but that never seemed to happen. My sister would usually eat more than her fair share, and she'd even kill an entire bag with her friends without any regard for me. I'd complain to mum that I wasn't getting the Doritos that I was entitled to. She'd tell my sister to stop hogging them, but that never worked. I remember being upset often because no matter what I did, my sister always seemed to beat me to the Doritos. But one day, I got home from school before my sister. I noticed that there was a brand new, unopened bag of Doritos in the pantry. So I did what any person experiencing my frustration would have done in this situation. I opened the bag, licked all of the seasoning off each Dorito, set them off to the side on a pile of paper towels to air dry, dumped the residual seasoning out of the bag, then put the Doritos back into the bag afterwards, and secured it with a chip clip. My sister arrived home shortly thereafter with her friend. She eventually went to the pantry, grabbed the Doritos, and plopped down onto the couch with her friend. They began eating the Doritos. I stood from afar, watching them. They were like two vultures tearing apart a dead raccoon. I managed to stifle my laughter until my sister's friend blurted out, "These don't taste like anything." I ran in there. Time to claim my victory. Tears of joy running down my face, snot dripping out of my nose, the whole nine. Laughing maniacally, I looked at them and said, "'Cause I licked all the seasoning off!" Honestly, I don't know how to feel about this one. On the one hand, you want to see justice done. On the other, it's almost a little horrifying. If you'd like your story to be narrated by me, don't forget to visit the subreddit r/VoiceyHere, link below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.